Hello everyone, welcome back. Fubar here, and today we got a banger of a video for you guys. But before we start this video off, we're going to be talking about what is the current metas within Warpath from the beginning when you first sign into the game on a brand new account to the current state of the game. All right, what units I will recommend personally, what I enjoyed most. This is all based off my personal recommendation and what I seen and how I utilize my units. So we're going to go with that. So if you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment. And also, did you guys know that 74% of my viewers are not subscribed to the channel? It's free. Hit the sub. It helps me. It helps you find your way back to the content. Okay, so we're going to start off with the legacy units. And we're going to start off with Martyr. All right. Now, infantry has made a huge splash. And I'm going to break down infantry right now. Modern infantry has the highest health pool, the most damage resistance against of all the other infantry units. They also do the least amount of damage, but they are very good for campaign. So I would recommend building that unit to 7.1 to be a feeder unit to either a rocket truck, a tank hunter, or a medium. Now, for that's the best way to describe it. Okay. Now, next, both fighter and bomber from Martyr Camp are very good. The Martyr is more fighter is more for holding a position longer because it has a higher chance of dodging enemy fighter plane attacks and also base attacks. Whereas the Martyr Bomber is designed for killing armored units. It gets a buff for doing that specifically, as you can see right here. Oh, as you can see, it says tank killer deals more damage to tanks than bombers from other camps. Okay. Both of the currently right now, as far as the martyr camp in the beginning, the medium tank is is a very popular choice because it has a self repair, but it also has a very hard retrain time. As you know, when you're fighting in a field in an open field battle, it's you as soon as your unit dies, you need to have it back in the fight as soon as possible, and that's why I won't recommend this unit. But a lot of people do use it because it is a very tanky unit. Tank Hunter has a higher penetration than the other tank hunters from other camps, and it also has a higher health pool, but it falls off once it hits modern. The rocket truck does the most base and structure damage in the game. It's very strong against all infantry units. Um, it does fall off slightly against armored units, but is still very effective, especially in the later game. And it does require a lot of micromanagement. It's a very popular unit. Now onto the howitzer of Martyr Camp. Martyr Camp howitzers are designed for meant for taking out enemy tanks versus structures. That has the lowest structure damage between the rocket truck, the Liberty howitzer, and the Martyr. It also has the longest reload time that can't be manipulated out of the two howitzers. This is excluding the rocket truck. Now, Liberty infantry is the most balanced infantry. It also has a smoke screen, and I would recommend this unit over the other two infantry units simply because of the smoke screen. It's like having a Bloody Mary attached to your infantry unit, but you can have two other officers. I think it would be very potent and very powerful, and I'll soon be finding out as I'm going to be building an infantry unit. Now, in the beginning of the game, the medium tank from Liberty is a must. It is so fun to play. Fast retrain time, fast movement speed. It gets to and from. Now, the Liberty Heavy, it's a meta all on its own. It has the siege ability. It does take a little bit of time to retrain, but it can solo bases once up there in power. The Liberty Tank Hunter, in the Legacy stage, it's the least popular Tank Hunter because it has high speed, but it has a long retrain time. But that changes once it hits modern. The Light Tank. Light Tank was a meta, and it's still a meta all the way through. If you are a veteran player, you know how pesky light tanks are. A lot of people used to use nothing but light tanks. They can absolutely be devastating on the battlefield for howitzers and other tanks like such as the SH, the heavies, because they can't get out DPS. They have one of the fastest fire rates out of tanks, and they do very well. Now, Liberty Bomber used to be another big meta with Liberty, and it still is very popularly used. I don't recommend it because I feel the functionality of the Liberty Bomber has slightly been lost with all the patches that have come out. It is still good for base defense for targeting RD rallies. It is good for targeting AFK AG groups. I think the Liberty Howitzer is the best howitzer in the game. Hands down, you can speed up its reload time. It has good structure damage because does good it does good unit damage. And the Liberty Fighter in this, I think, is a jack of all trades fighter, pound for pound. It is better than the Martyr. It holds up against the Vanguard, but the Vanguard does win on the fighter side. Now, this is me. For me, now this is where things are going to get a little tricky because this camp has two of my least favorite units, which is the ATG and the Super Heavy. Super Heavy, I just posted a short yesterday. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. Um, the Super Heavy I think is completely obsolete, but it's useful in the beginning for base to base. The ATG is used to take out Super Heavies and heavy tanks, but it has a firing range of 3 grids and it has a long reload time and it's very slow in movement, so therefore I don't think it is a viable option in late game. The Vanguard Infantry does the most damage towards tank units, but it also has the lowest health pool, and that one's totally up to you whether or not you want to invest in that unit. But me personally, I would not. The Vanguard Medium, this is by far one of the best tanks in the game. It is slower than the Liberty Medium, but it does so well. It has a boosted fire rate, and it also has a fast reproduction time. So if it dies, you can get it back really quickly. The Vanguard Heavy, I would not recommend in the beginning. The Vanguard Tank Hunter in the beginning is a very popular unit. It does a lot of damage. It does very well against super heavies, but it does not do well against light tanks and all other mediums. Vanguard Fighter, hands down, one of the best fighters in the game. It's good for engaging the enemy, holding positions, and is the top dog in my opinion. Vanguard Bomber. The Vanguard Bomber is very good at taking out single targets because it and the Martyr Bomber track the target. Whereas the Martyr Bomber does more damage to tanks. This does not say this in the description, but it does actually very high damage to artillery units. So the Vanguard Bomber is very useful, especially if you're going to be trying to gatekeep in certain terrains. That way you're stopping the opponent's troops moving towards your base, especially their RD units that you want to target. Now, we're going to go over to the real heavy duty stuff now. We're going to be talking about the modern units. Now, the modern infantry, this unit right here is very, like I said before, is very tanky. It is meant for doing base to base. It is meant for taking the hits. It it'll take forever to die, but it does not do enough damage. Now, out of the MBTs, the Martyr MBT is the most misunderstood. It has a long retrain time, but in my opinion and a lot of other people's opinions, this is a very tanky MBT. This is an MBT you would use to sponge bases and use on base defense with the Steel Fighter and Thorn Countess combo. Along with also you would want to consider this combo with the infantry, the Martyr infantry. The Marder helicopter is a very good helicopter, but it's very slow. And the penetration effect kind of falls off because it's so high it will overpen, in my opinion, over the other helicopters. The rocket truck it's a meta. You'll see AGs running around all the time with these rocket trucks because they simply decimate bases. All you need is one strong MBT, and then you have a whole rally of rocket trucks on that base. It will be deleted in less than 8 seconds. Like I said about the Marder howitzer, it's better, I feel, on base defense or close to base because its only role, I feel, will be used on vehicles. And I already discussed the fighter and the bomber, and that stays pretty much the same. Now, the real difference changes right here in Liberty Camp. The Liberty howitzer is a meta, it's always been a meta. The light tank is always a meta, has been a meta, and it still is the meta. It's the only unit that is used to take out helicopters, and it does a very good job at that. But it's also useful for taking out artillery groups, but it dies really quickly. Fun fact to know about helicopters, by the way, is that the helicopter actually is very weak to blast damage. It will take a lot of damage from the rocket truck and the howitzers and bombers very quickly, especially the Marder bomber. We already covered the fighter plane and the Liberty bomber, but we're going to go now straight to the helicopter. The Liberty helicopter, hands down, in my opinion, is the best helicopter in the game. It has the movement speed to catch opponents out in the field when they're trying to move their base or just run a rally. You can get there very quickly with this helicopter. Good firepower, good health pool, very good survivability. Now on to the main battle tank of Liberty. It has the siege factor, it has the movement speed, and it has a fast retrain speed for perks. It is a very solid choice and it is very good on the battlefield. It outplays on the battlefield in an open field fight. Oh, it will last longer than a Marder MBT, I feel. The Liberty Infantry, like I said before, this has not changed. I think this is the best infantry unit, hands down, and it's because of that smoke screen. And it's the most balanced out of the two other camps. And it also has a first aid skill, which allows it to recover the HP very quickly when not in combat. Now, as I discussed, the Vanguard Infantry does very good against tanks. It has the highest firepower out of all the groups. It also has the first aid skill, but it's not very durable. Again, SH, I do not recommend it. It has completely fallen off. The anti-tank gun now, this is where things are going to get interesting. Within the next month, we're going to get a patch that should allow the anti-tank gun to have AA mode. It might become completely broken and overpowered like the infantry have, but it may not be the case. It might actually be worse than it was before, based off it could be like the light tank AA, because the light tank AA mode is not that good. Now, onto the MBT. The main battle tank of Vanguard is the strongest out of the three camps MBTs because it has three perks. It has rapid production, enhanced firepower, and armor reinforcement. It also has siege. So this unit is very good against bases. It's very good in the open field, and it's very tanky because of the armor reinforcement. It's not going to get penned very easy, but it does fall prey very quickly to Liberty helicopters and other helicopters. The Vanguard helicopter is the second best helicopter in my opinion. It's very slow, but it does pack a punch. Now, like I said about the Vanguard fighter, stays the same. Same with the Vanguard bomber. So the key units I would want you guys to think about right now is an actual perfect triangle that is now slowly being turned into a square. I want you to picture a triangle. So the triangle will be the light tank, the MBT, and the helicopter. These form your field fighting triangle, okay? And now this is recently changed to now being a perfect square. Now I want you to also picture that triangle within that square, because now before the buff with the infantry, the MBT was weak to the helicopter was weak to the light was weak to the MBT. So it performed this perfect little triangle. Now, now with the infantry actually has no weakness against any of the tank units unless it's up against like multiple tanks, such as a rally or, you know, yeah, a rally pretty much, or an AG group. The only way to take out infantry very effectively is the rocket truck, and that would be a totally separate little triangle right there. So what I would recommend focusing right now for this meta that is currently existing in the game, it sums down to six ground troops, and I want you to recognize this. It's the infantry, the MBT, the helicopter, the light tank, and the rocket truck and the howitzer. I'm sorry, that might be seven. Now, the best out of each of these camps in my opinion, would be the light tank, the Liberty helicopter, the Liberty infantry, the Liberty howitzer, the rocket truck, which can only be found in the martyr camp, the Vanguard MBT, okay, and for fighter planes, it would be the Vanguard fighter plane, martyr bomber, or Vanguard bomber. They're both kind of do very well. I would say go with Vanguard there, and that would be your current meta. Your current meta is amongst these units. However, you may not see a lot of infantry in the field right now, but I believe right now in the younger servers, you're going to see a lot of infantry being used, and it will be a vastly different ball game later on when you start facing these younger servers in L4s. So that's going to be it for the video today, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, again, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys want to join our community Discord, the link will be below in the description. Thank you guys. I got your six. Fubar out.